Modern football, it's just drowning in data, isn't it? You can track absolutely everything.
Yeah, there's so much out there.
But the real challenge is figuring out what actually matters. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to give you that shortcut, help you get smart, fast.
Exactly.
Today, our mission is to, well, make sense of a whole load of football matches coming up on May 30th, 2025. We're looking across Ireland, Norway, Spain, Sweden.
A real mix.
And we've got the sources, the info to give you that deeper understanding, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And today we're really focusing in on the Irish leagues mainly. Some cracking Premier Division games, Bohemians v Derry City.
There's one.
Cork City against Shelbourne, Sligo Rovers playing St. Pat's, Waterford versus Drogheda, and Shamrock Rovers hosting Galway.
Plus the First Division too, right?
Oh yeah, Division 1 as well. Bray against Finn Harps, Cobb Ramblers taking on Treaty United, Kerry versus Longford, and UC Dublin against Athlone. It's a packed schedule.
Okay, let's dive in. Starting in the Irish Premier Division, Bohemians hosting Derry City. This one looks really interesting straight off the bat.
Yeah, neck and neck, both on 27 points. High stakes.
Definitely high stakes. But here's something that jumps out historically. Derry City seems to, well, have Bohemians' number.
They really do. 69% wins in the last 13 meetings. That's pretty dominant.
Compared to just 8% for Bows. And Derry won 1-0 back in February this year, too. That kind of history.
Yeah.
It's got to give Derry a bit of a psychological edge, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That consistent record suggests, maybe they've found a tactical formula, or perhaps it's just a mental block for Bohemians when they face them.
Yeah, it could be.
But I mean, history isn't everything, right?
Right. And Bohemians' current story is actually quite different. They've won 4 of their last 5 games.
Strong form.
And crucially, their home form is looking really good. 4 wins in their last 5 at Delymount, and they're scoring in every home game lately.
That's the counterpoint, isn't it? That kind of form, especially at home, builds serious confidence. Suggests they're clicking in front of their own fans.
So could that home form finally break the Derry hoodoo?
It definitely makes things more complicated. But we also need to look at Derry's recent away trips.
Okay, yeah. Derry's form overall is decent 3 wins, a draw, a loss in the last 5.
Pretty solid.
But there's this little note. They tend to struggle a bit winning away against teams in the top 6.
That's a key trend.
Although they did get that away draw against Shamrock Rovers, the league leaders, recently.
Which shows resilience, right? They can dig in and get a result against the best, even on the road, so it's not clear-cut.
No, definitely mixed bag for Derry away from home against the top sides.
Precisely. That Rovers result proves they can perform under pressure away. Now, let's think about where the goals might come from.
Okay. Goal-wise, Bohemians' home games. They're often quite tight, aren't they? 38% over 2.5 goals isn't massive.
Relatively low, yeah.
But here's a specific weakness we've found. Bohemians seem vulnerable defensively at home between the 15th and 30th minute. They've conceded 5 goals in that window.
That's a really specific, interesting point. A potential Achilles heel.
And does that connect with Derry's scoring patterns?
It does, actually. Derry score 50% of their goals in the first half. So that mid-first half spell where Bohemians have been leaky, well, it looks like a prime opportunity for Derry, doesn't it?
Yeah, that lines up perfectly. Potential early goal there. Now let's talk XG, expected goals. Bohemians' XGA, expected goals against, is 1.78. That's higher than the 1.12 they're actually conceding. What's that telling us?
Okay, so XG looks at chance quality, right? High XGA, like Bows have, means opponents are creating genuinely good chances against them.
Right.
The fact they've conceded fewer goals than expected suggests their defense, or maybe their keeper, has been riding their luck a bit, perhaps overperforming.
So maybe do a correction.
Potentially.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, Derry's XG is 1.68, which is higher than the 1.29 goals they're actually scoring.
Oh.
Meaning they're creating good chances but haven't been quite clinical enough. Their attack has potential that maybe hasn't been fully realized yet.
Okay, so Bohemians' defense might be a bit fortunate. Derry's attack a bit unfortunate. Interesting. What about player availability? Injuries, suspensions, they can completely change things.
Absolutely crucial. Bohemians have a few concerns. Lacey, Best is back training. Kavanaugh was available recently. Clark's on the suspension tightrope.
Okay.
But Derry seem to have more significant issues. Long-term absentees like Dummigan and Diallo. Winchester's suspended, which is a blow, and Boyce is doubtful.
So Derry's absences are potentially more impactful.
I'd say so, yeah. Especially Winchester's suspension in midfield. It might just level the playing field a bit, despite their historical dominance.
Right. So wrapping up Bohemians versus Derry, you've got that historical Derry dominance clashing directly with Bo's really strong current home form.
Big clash of trends.
Then throw in Derry missing some key players. It feels like it could be a real battle. And the data, the goal timings, the XG, it points towards both teams scoring, which happens a lot between them anyway.
53% historically, yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, an early goal is quite likely, given that Bo's defensive lapse time and Derry's tendency to score in the first half.
Exactly. It's that classic tension. Past performance versus present form and circumstances. Fascinating stuff.
Okay, moving on. Next Premier Division game in Ireland. Cork City versus Shelbourne. And the league table here paints a pretty stark picture.
It really does. Cork City struggling down in 9th with just 12 points. Shelbourne sitting much more comfortably in 6th on 26.
Big gap. And the head-to-head history. Does it back that up?
Overwhelmingly, Shelbourne have absolutely dominated this fixture recently. 9 wins out of the last 13 for them compared to just 1 for Cork.
Wow. 69% win rate for Shelbourne there, too.
Yeah, and 4 Shelbourne wins in the last 5 meetings. There was that 1-1 draw back in March.
An outlier.
Looks very much like an anomaly, yeah. The pattern is strong Shelbourne dominance.
And Cork's current form. It's not great, is it?
To put it mildly, no. 4 straight losses. Only 1 draw in their last 5 games. They've conceded in their last 17 matches.
17.
And in their last 7 games, they've both scored and conceded. It just screams instability.
Doesn't sound good at all. What about Shelbourne? You said they're more stable, but any weaknesses?
Well, their recent away form isn't amazing. 2 defeats in a row on the road, no wins in their last 5 away trips. That might give Cork a tiny glimmer of hope.
So maybe Cork could catch them cold?
You might think so, but here's the crucial bit of context. Shelbourne have a really strong record against teams ranked 5th or lower.
Okay.
They've only lost once against those teams all season. So while their overall away form is patchy against a struggling side like Cork City, that record suggests they know how to get the job done. Their specific record against weaker teams mitigates the general away form concerns.
That makes sense. Context is everything. So Shelbourne usually handled the teams below them. Now, goals. Cork City have a massive problem defensively in the first half.
Huge. 64% of the goals they concede come before halftime, and 0 clean sheets all season.
To 0. That's rough.
It points to a team that just can't seem to get organized from the start. Interestingly, though, Shelbourne have also shown a bit of vulnerability early in away games. 7 of their last 9 away goals conceded were in the first half.
So maybe an early goal is likely either way, even if Cork's generally leakier.
It's possible, yeah. A higher chance of first-half action, certainly, though Cork's overall record is obviously much worse.
Right. What about the XG for this one? Does it confirm Cork's defensive woes?
It does. Cork's XGA, expected goals against, is high at 1.78, pretty much matching the goals they're actually letting in. Confirms they consistently give up good chances.
And Shelbourne?
Their XG is way higher, 1.84, than the 1.17 goals they're actually scoring per game.
So, similar to Derry, they're creating chances but not finishing them.
Exactly. But against this very leaky Cork defense, this could be the game where Shelbourne's attack finally clicks and converts those chances.
Sounds ominous for Cork. And their player situation makes things even tougher, doesn't it? Especially up front.
Oh, massively. It's a proper injury crisis for Cork, particularly in attack. Keating, their top scorer, is out for the season. Drinnan, Dykesteele, Kudo all sidelined. Maguire's fitness is uncertain. Fitzpatrick suspended. Bolger has a knock.
Wow, that's a huge chunk of their attack missing.
It really is. Shelbourne have absences too. Coote and Coyle suspended. Yeah. Barrett, Wilson, Kelly injuries unknown. Ledwidge doubtful. But compared to Cork's attacking decimation, Shelbourne's issues seem less critical for this specific match.
Okay, so putting it all together. Shelbourne's history against Cork, Cork's terrible defense and current form, plus those massive attacking injuries for Cork.
It really points strongly towards a Shelbourne win, doesn't it?
It feels pretty conclusive. And with both teams showing first-half defensive issues, especially Cork, that first-half goal seems like a really strong possibility again.
Agreed. Shelbourne look very likely to take the points here.
Okay, let's keep moving through the Premier Division. Sligo Rovers versus St. Patrick's Athletic next.
Yeah.
Sligo are bottom, 10th place, just 12 points.
Yeah, really struggling.
And they're up against St. Pat's, who are sitting nicely in 5th with 26 points. A clear gap on paper.
Big gap, and historically this has been a good fixture for St. Pat's going way back. Since 2005, they've won 35 times to Sligo's 20.
That's quite a difference.
And more recently, they've really dominated. 5 wins in the last 6 matches against Sligo, including that crazy 4-3 win for St. Pat's back in February.
Ah, yes, the 4-3. Highlights their ability to outscore Sligo, doesn't it?
Definitely shows their firepower in this fixture. Now, Sligo's current form, it's not painting a pretty picture.
No, just 1 win, 1 draw in their last 5 overall. And at home, they haven't won in their last 6 games, and they've conceded in their last 8 at the Showgrounds.
That's a really worrying run for a home side, struggling for results and defensively leaky in front of their own fans.
What about St. Pat's form?
It's been a bit mixed lately. 1 win, 1 draw, 3 losses in the last 5. But they did get that away draw at Waterford last time out, which broke a losing streak.
So maybe a bit of momentum returning.
Could be. And they'll definitely see this game against a struggling Sligo side as a huge opportunity to get back to winning ways on the road.
Makes sense. Now, goal timing. Sligo tend to score later at home. 7 of their last 9 home goals came in the second half.
Yeah, suggests they might be slow starters at the Showgrounds, or maybe they finish stronger.
How does that compare to St. Pat's away?
St. Pat's tend to start faster on the road. 5 of their last 7 away goals came in the first half, and their average first-half goal rate is higher away.
So St. Pat's likely to push early against a potentially slow-starting Sligo.
That's what the pattern suggests, yeah. St. Pat's will probably look to get on the front foot quickly.
And there was that interesting note that even if Sligo somehow got a 2-0 lead, it might not be safe against St. Pat's.
Exactly, because St. Pat's have shown they have the attacking quality and firepower to come back, like in that 4-3 game. They can score goals in bunches.
Right. What about the underlying numbers, the XG?
Sligo's XGA is high, 1.86, which confirms those defensive issues we talked about. St. Pat's, meanwhile, have a stronger XG, 1.58, and a lower XGA, 1.49, indicating better overall performance at both ends.
So the data backs up the league positions and form. Injuries for this one.
Sligo have Denham out until June. Van Hattem should be available, though. Suspension risks for Wolf, Elding, and Reynolds.
Okay, and St. Pat's.
They have a bigger problem, actually. A bit of a midfield injury crisis. Palmer's had a setback. Forrester and Levy are out. Lennon is suspended. Plus suspension risks for Hoare and Gravosti.
Wow, that's a lot of midfielders missing for St. Pat's. Could that temper their dominance?
It might, yeah. It could definitely affect their ability to control the game in the middle of the park. It's a significant factor to consider.
Okay, so even with those St. Pat's midfield issues, weighing everything up, their historical dominance, Sligo's really poor form and defensive vulnerability.
Right.
An away win still feels like the most probable outcome.
I think so, yes. Sligo's weaknesses seem too pronounced, and the goal patterns point towards St. Pat's trying to score early, and maybe another relatively high-scoring game overall, despite those midfield gaps for the visitors.
Right, makes sense. Next up, Waterford versus Drogheda United, another Premier Division clash.
Yeah, Drogheda doing really well, second in the league with 29 points. Waterford down in 8th with 22.
Decent gap there. Historically, how does this one look?
Drogheda had the overall historical edge, 17 wins to Waterford's 10. But interestingly, the recent record is much more balanced. In the last 5, it's 2 wins each and 1 draw.
Okay, so quite competitive lately.
Yeah, though Drogheda did win the most recent one, 2-0 back in April, giving them a slight edge there. And historically, these games often see a good few goals.
Right, often high scoring. But Waterford's current form is actually pretty good, isn't it?
It really is. They've picked up 10 points from their last 5 games, 3 wins, a draw, 1 loss. They're scoring consistently, found the net in their last 7 matches.
And some good home wins recently, too.
Yeah, notable wins against Derry and Galway at home, plus they haven't drawn at home in quite a while. Seems like they're building real momentum at the RSC.
Definitely sounds like they're on the up. How about Drogheda's form?
Pretty consistent, too. 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss in their last 5. Their defense has been strong overall this season.
With some away issues creeping in.
Yeah, that's the potential catch. They failed to score in their last 2 away games, and they lost away to teams in 1st and 7th place recently. Suggests they might be a bit vulnerable on their travels against decent opposition.
Okay, that away scoring drought for Drogheda is definitely something to watch.
Yep.
Now, goal timings. Waterford seemed to concede at home both very early and very late.
Yeah, 5 goals conceded in the first 15 minutes at home and 6 conceded in the last 15 minutes, vulnerable at the start and finish. And their home games tend to have goals 65% over 2.5.
High chance of goals there. What about Drogheda conceding away?
Their pattern is different. 8 of their last 9 away goals conceded have come in the second half.
Ah, okay. So Waterford, leaky early and late. Drogheda tend to concede later away from home. That suggests maybe a cagey first half, then things opening up.
That's a definite possibility, yeah. Could see more action after the break.
Let's look at the XG. Does it confirm Waterford's defensive issues and Drogheda's solid defense?
Pretty much. Waterford's XG scored 1.00 matches their actual goals, but their XGA is high at 1.74, confirming those defensive concerns. Drogheda's XG is decent, 1.29, and their XGA is low, 1.14, painting that picture of a solid defensive unit.
Okay. Player availability. Any major issues?
Waterford have Smith out for the season, Coyle and Boyle injured too. Redkowski is a suspension risk. For Drogheda, Thomas and Doyle are out until early June. Brennan and Keeley are suspension risks. So absences for both sides.
Right, so this one feels quite complex. Waterford's good recent form versus Drogheda's strong league position but shaky away scoring. Player absences on both sides.
It's a tough one to call.
Maybe the key angle here is the goal timing. Drogheda conceding late away, Waterford conceding late at home, could point towards second half goals.
That seems like a strong possibility, yeah. And despite Drogheda's recent away scoring struggles, Waterford's defense isn't exactly watertight, so both teams' scoring still feels plausible.
Okay, interesting one. Let's move to the league leaders. Shamrock Rovers hosting Galway United, top versus 7th.
Yeah, clear favorite here on paper. Shamrock Rovers leading the pack with 35 points, Galway in 7th with 23.
And the head-to-head recently favors Rovers.
Strongly. 3 wins and 2 draws for Shamrock Rovers in the last 5 meetings against Galway, including a 1-0 away win for Rovers back in April. They seem to handle Galway pretty well.
Right, and Rovers' current form is just frighteningly good, isn't it?
Absolutely exceptional. 5 wins in a row, 4 wins and a draw in their last 5, if you look slightly wider. Scoring lows average 2.6 goals and conceding hardly anything, 0.4 average.
Wow, and their home form is even better.
It's formidable. They've scored 2 or more goals in their last 7 home matches, and incredibly, they haven't conceded a single first-half goal at home all season.
That's incredible defensive solidity early on at home.
It really is. Total control. Now, contrast that with Galway's recent form.
Not so good.
Much more concerning. 4 losses and only 1 win in their last 5 games. They're struggling to score, averaging just 0.6 goals and conceding 1.4 per game. Plus, they're on a 10-match streak without a clean sheet.
10 games conceding. Ouch. Any bright spots for Galway?
Well, they did manage away draws against the teams in 2nd and 3rd place earlier, so they can be resilient on the road against top teams sometimes.
But those feel like isolated results against the current trend.
Yeah, the overall picture is pretty negative for Galway right now, especially compared to Rovers' flying form.
And just reiterating that Rovers' home form, scoring multiple goals consistently, rock solid in the first half defensively.
Exactly, and Galway have really struggled to score even a second goal in games recently, while that conceding streak just keeps going. It's a massive ask for them going to Tallaght.
Huge ask. What about the XG? Does it confirm Rovers' dominance and Galway's struggles?
Absolutely. Rovers have strong XG, both overall and specifically at home. Their XGA is very low, confirming their efficiency and defensive strength. Galway's numbers show a lower attacking threat and a higher XGA away from home, highlighting their vulnerability on the road.
So the underlying stats totally back up the form guide. Any key player news?
Rovers have Cleary suspended until the 31st. Grace is injured. Kavanagh doubtful. McGinniff, Mandroyu, O'Neill injured, but maybe nearing returns. Clark doubtful too. They did just sign McGovern for the future.
Okay, a few missing, but they have squad depth. What about Galway?
They seem to have bigger problems. Cunningham is out for the season, which is a blow, and there are doubts over a whole host of players. Keohane, McCarthy, Borden, Clark, Horgan, McCormack.
That's a lot of potential absences. Could really weaken their defense and midfield.
It certainly could, yeah. Makes a tough task even tougher.
So, wrapping this one up, Rovers' amazing form, their strong head-to-head, Galway's struggles, Galway's potential injury crisis, it points overwhelmingly to a home win, doesn't it?
It really does. Very hard to see any other outcome.
Expect multiple goals for Shamrock Rovers. Expect them to be solid defensively, again, especially in the first half. The big question is whether Galway can even manage to score one.
Precisely. Looks like a comfortable home victory is on the cards.
Okay, let's switch gears now. Down to the Irish Division 1. First up, Bray Wanderers hosting Finn Harps.
Right. Bray sitting nicely in third with 31 points. Finn Harps down in seventh with 14.
And there's a bit of needle here, isn't there, after Finn Harps hammered Bray recently?
There is. Finn Harps won 5-0 in their last meeting, so Bray will definitely be out for revenge here, especially at home. Otherwise, the head-to-head is pretty balanced historically.
That 5-0 will be stinging, for sure. And Bray's recent form, especially offensively, looks good.
Yeah, pretty strong. 3 wins and a draw in their last 5. They're averaging a high number of goals scored, 2.4 per game, although they are conceding a fair few too, 1.4 per game.
Scoring consistently at home, too.
Yes, scored in their last 8 home matches. And their games tend to be high scoring. 7 of their last 8 have seen over 2.5 goals. They're entertaining, if a bit open.
Okay, how about Finn Harps? Their situation looks less rosy.
Much less rosy. Significant struggles recently. 3 losses and 2 draws in their last 5. Scoring is a major issue, averaging just 0.4 goals per game.
Wow, less than half a goal a game.
Yeah, and conceding 1.6. They've failed to score at all in 3 of their last 4 matches, and their only away win all season was against the bottom team, Wexford. It's a real offensive drought.
That sounds pretty dire offensively. Goal timings. Bray start fast.
Yeah, Bray score a big chunk of their goals, 73% in the first half, average nearly a goal per first half at home.
And Finn Harps. You said they barely score, but when do they typically get them if they do?
They tend to score later, 63% in the second half, averaging 0.88 second half goals away. But, I mean, the bigger issue is they just aren't scoring at all consistently away from home right now.
Right, that second half tendency doesn't mean much if they can't score goal 1. What about XG?
Bray's home XG is strong at 1.94, confirming they create good chances. Finn Harps' away XG is low, 1.26, and their away XGA is higher at 1.62. Reinforces Bray's attacking advantage and Harps' struggle.
Okay, and the injury situation. Does it favor Bray too?
It seems to. Bray have Talon, Barnett, Dagelman, Murphy out, suspension risks for Cantwell and Talon, but Finn Harps have significant defensive injuries. Johnston and Tourshire out long-term, again, it's doubtful. Other knocks for McLaughlin, Rainey, Jordan. Suspension risks for McNamee and Place too. Those defensive gaps for Harps look serious.
So Bray motivated for revenge, in good scoring form, facing a Finn Harps side that can't buy a goal and has major defensive injuries.
It points pretty strongly towards a Bray win, likely high scoring too.
Yeah. Feels like Bray should get the job done here and probably score early given their first half patterns.
Agreed. Data suggests a comfortable home win for Bray.
Okay, next in Division 1. Cobb Ramblers versus Treaty United. This looks like a really competitive one near the top.
It does. Cobb are second with 32 points, Treaty fourth with 24. Not much between them. Head-to-head is balanced, and their last game was a high-scoring thriller.
Both in great form, too.
Excellent form. Both Cobb and Treaty have won 4 and lost 1 of their last 5 games. Cobb averaging 2.2 goals scored, Treaty averaging 2.4. Both teams firing.
Impressive scoring from both. But Cobb have this incredible trend of avoiding draws, right?
It's remarkable. No draws in their last 13 matches overall. None in their last 7 home games either. And they've scored in their last 7 at home too. They consistently get a result, one way or another.
That's fascinating. What about Treaty? Good form, but any caveats?
The big one for Treaty is their record against the top 5 teams. They haven't beaten any team in the top 5 this season, home or away.
So this game against second place Cobb is a massive test for them.
Huge test. They also haven't drawn away recently, similar to Cobb avoiding draws generally. And they have a real tendency to score late goals away from home, 5 goals in the final 15 minutes on their travels.
Late goals away for Treaty. Interesting dynamic against Cobb's no-draw streak. What about overall goal expectations?
Probabilities are pretty balanced.
Yeah.
Around 50% chance of over 2.5 goals, 54% chance of both teams scoring. Suggests an open game is expected.
And that Treaty late scoring threat is key.
XG support the idea of goals.
Yes. Cobb's XG is strong, especially at home. Treaty's XG is solid too, both overall and away. The underlying numbers back up the expectation of goals.
Okay. Injuries or suspensions to worry about.
Cobb have Doherty out for the season, suspension risks for Griffin, Murphy, O'Keefe. But striker Whelan is back, which is a boost. Treaty have Healy as a suspension risk. Doubts over Byrne and O'Sullivan. Other injuries to Blake, O'Connell, Ryan. So a few concerns for them too. Right. So weighing it up. Cobb's strong home form. Treaty struggles against the top teams. Maybe Cobb are slight favorites.
I'd lean that way, yes. But expect goals, likely from both sides.
And that late soaring habit of Treaties is definitely one to watch. Plus, Cobb's incredible no-draw run maybe suggests backing a definitive result rather than a draw.
That's a really interesting angle, yeah. The late draw idea seems particularly relevant for Cobb games.
Okay, two more in Division 1. Kerry versus Longford Town next. Lower table clash, this one.
Yeah, Kerry 8th, Longford 9th, both on 14 points. Kerry will be looking to use that home advantage.
Historically, Longford have had the edge.
Overall, yes, but recently it's been more balanced, and their last meeting was actually a high-scoring draw.
Okay, Kerry's recent form is a bit mixed, but they do seem to score at home against teams around them.
Yeah, they've shown they can score a couple of goals at home against lower-ranked sides.
What about Longford? They've had a run of draws, but their away form is pretty bad.
Really poor, yeah. No wins in their last 8 away games. They've only scored twice in an away game once all season, and consistently struggle to get even a second away goal. Real offensive limitations on the road.
That's a major issue, struggling to score away. Kerry tend to score early at home.
They do. 5 of their last 7 home goals came in the first half. Could put Longford under pressure from the off.
And given Longford's inability to score multiple goals away, an early Kerry lead could be very significant.
Exactly. Makes it an uphill battle for Longford if they concede early.
What does XG say? Does it support Kerry at home?
Yes. Kerry's home XG is higher than Longford's away XG, and Longford's away XGA is high, suggesting Kerry should have the offensive edge at home and Longford struggle defensively on their travels.
Okay. Player news. Absences.
Kerry have Oakwood just back from suspension. Kelleher has a knee injury, Gleason long-term out, Knox for Palmer, McQueen, O'Connell. Longford have Walsh with an injury history, suspension risks for Spain and Urhu, injuries to McKenna, Hurry, McDade, Wickstead, potentially weakening their attack further.
So, Kerry's home advantage. Longford's really poor away record and scoring problems, plus potential attacking injuries for Longford, makes Kerry favorites.
It points that way, yes.
Yeah.
Despite the historical stats may be favoring Longford slightly overall.
And while their recent games have sometimes been high scoring, maybe Longford's current away scoring woes suggest this could be tighter.
That's a definite possibility. Longford might struggle to contribute much offensively here. Kerry look like they have a good chance to grab the points.
Okay, final game in Division 1. UC Dublin versus Athlone Town.
Right, UCD in 6th, Athlone just below them. Both teams, as we've noted, seem to struggle for consistent goals, especially getting that second goal.
Yeah, finding goals hard to come by. Historically, UCD used to dominate this.
They did, but Athlone have had more success recently, including winning the last meeting 2-1.
Okay, so recent form favors Athlone slightly in the head-to-head, but you mentioned both struggle offensively now.
Exactly. And interestingly, despite their current low-scoring output, matches between UCD and Athlone have often been quite high-scoring historically.
That's a weird contrast, isn't it? High-scoring history versus current struggles to find the net. We don't have the super detailed form or XG for this one in front of us.
No, not the specifics for this game.
But based on that general context, both finding it hard to score multiple goals, you'd probably lean towards this being a tighter, maybe lower scoring game, despite the history.
That seems like the logical conclusion, yeah. Their current struggles in front of goal probably outweigh the historical trend this time around. Could be a cagey one.
Right, so there we have it. A really comprehensive deep dive across those Irish leagues, plus touching on others. We've gone through the history, the form, the goal patterns, XG, player news.
Trying to get beyond just the league table or the basic odds, yeah.
Hopefully giving you a much richer, deeper understanding of what might happen in these games. It's about seeing those underlying factors, isn't it?
Exactly. Looking at the why behind potential outcomes, not just the whys.
And it does leave you with that final thought, doesn't it? When you see these clashes like strong history versus strong current form, or key injuries potentially wiping out an advantage, which factor do you think ultimately holds more weight?
It's the million-dollar question in football analysis, right?
And those specific tactical points, like a team being leaky at a certain time or another team scoring late away, which of those vulnerabilities do you think is most likely to get exploited this time around? Something to think about as you watch the games unfold.
Definitely adds another layer to watching the matches.
Well, we hope this deep dive has cut through the noise and given you that informed perspective. Thanks for joining us.